Good evening. I'm your host, Don Armando, and Tyler Don. Tonight, um, which is knowledge or why men or have this title. I do not know the history. I am completely clueless to what. So if anybody of the MGTOW community or who want actually like for anybody to why y'all identify as MGTOW, and also what future do y'all see as okay?
Saludos, saludos.
Hey,
Súbelo, no se oye.
how's everything?
Se oye poco, manito.
Sí, voy para SPM pronto, manito. Ya tú sabes. Quiere algo, manito? Ella, ahora.
It still sounds low. Sounds low, bro.
Yeah, let me
Like
try
Eminem said, turn my
something.
mic up. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, yo. Andando.
Yeah, it was good. You hear me better now?
I hear you a little bit better, but it still sounds like very, very far.
All right, yeah,
I
because
might have to
sometimes.
put my headphones on. Hold up.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
I might have to
because
put my
it's like,
studio headphones on.
all right, yeah, because tonight's topic we're just talking about the MGTOWs. Well, you and I, we're not any part of that community because we're married men. So I would like to know, you know, what their struggles are and everything like that.
All right. Let me get this connected.
All right,
Just a second. Let me get this Bluetooth on.
got you.
All right, hello.
Hey, I'm here.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I'm gonna be going to the homeland soon, bro.
All right, hold on. Am I connected to this Bluetooth or not?
Yeah, you are. I hear you.
Right, audio. All right, I hear that you hear me,
All right.
but I still hear you a little bit muffled.
All right. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like because sometimes I got a bad area, so therefore that sometimes happens.
Like I got my volume all the way up and I still could barely hear you. I heard
Wow.
sometimes you're right, and then I didn't hear anything else after that. I was like, ah, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. Let me check. All right.
Or let me find out that the headphones didn't really connect for the audio and it's still coming out the phone.
Let me check. All right. So you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes like the area where I stay at, like it got like I don't know, it got Wi-Fi issues or whatever the case may be.
All right. So it's been a while since I've been on the show. I wanna first of all welcome everyone tonight to the show with a blessing.
Thank
Um,
you.
may the spirit of the Lord be in every one of your houses, filling you with peace and prosperity, and of course, with all those little needs that we need, that the Lord knows you need. For anyone that's had a
Amen.
birthday since the beginning of this new year, since the last time I aired on the show to now, happy belated birthday, many blessings. To
Thank
any
you.
one of the members or any one of the people in the cast or people listening to the program that has family in the hospital, we want to send the prayers to the Lord for speedy recovery for every family member and friend that we have. We always have one of those in the hospital. We always have one of those in prison that's sick, so let us put our faiths together like always, and like Jesus said, there isn't anything that we would ask the Father in His name that He wouldn't give. So we're praying today for the blessings, the deliverance, and the healing of any and all family members and friends of friends. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Amen.
I send the prayer out to Dominican Republic, just like I send out to Puerto Rico and all the Virgin Islands. You know what I'm saying? They're always prone to, storms and hurricanes and all this stuff. I've
Yes.
lived through it.
Yes.
It's not an easy sight to see. It's not an easy thing to go through, to just see your house there 1 minute and then 2 minutes later, it's
It's
not
gone.
there anymore.
Right.
Like, so but in the midst of all that, let's not anchor ourselves in that, because, those topics normally bring sorrow and despair. And
Right.
what I want to do is leave a positive vibe in the air.
Got
Um,
you.
in a very solid note, my girlfriend just graduated her NRA and
Okay.
she just became a nurse. So
Nice.
now she's a medical assistant slash nurse. She's studying to become some other stuff on the way. So, there's nothing but good and solid vibes on this end.
That's what's up. And as for me, I'm gonna be going to the homeland, so I just have
All right.
to handle certain family business and hopefully reconnect with a lot of family that I didn't know that I have.
That's very important.
Yes.
Very important. Believe it or not, you know, we're all specks of the land, but we're
Yes.
all pieces and fragments of God. So,
Amen.
the more family we get to meet, the more fragments of our family we get to accumulate amongst ourselves. I believe that we absorb energy from each other's family members. So
Exactly.
having being able to see your family, and especially family you never met before, all those
Right.
bonds and connections, just like they fill your they fill you up. It's like if you have an empty gas can because you've been alone for a while, go out and
Right.
meet your family that you never met. Watch it fill your can so full, you're gonna be happy for years just off the fact that you just met family you've never met before.
Yes.
You know, and what better place than DR, bro? It's nothing but beautiful trees and fruit and the land. You know,
Exactly.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, brother, on that same note, same positive note, same positive feedback. Um, wifey just graduated to be a nurse. She's
All right.
doing a few more other courses and clinical. So I'm not gonna be able to stay long. So I gotta go all the way downtown, to the 14th Street area zone
All
and
right.
pick her up so she can come back home. She has work in the morning.
All right. That's what's up.
But I always stay in tune to the posts. Sometimes I can't make it.
All right.
But
That's what's up.
if anyone has questions, if anyone wants a prayer request, if anyone even wants a Bible study, hit your brother Darkness up. Darkness came to bring the light.
Amen.
All right. You can email me at pkdarkness.gmail.com. And
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. It's something called life. We could either live life happy or we could live life in a way that we're unhappy. I'd rather live life happy.
Me too.
Right. So I'm gonna sign off. Many blessings, my brother Armando de lo mío, personal.
Ya, ya tú sabes.
You're my brother, bro. I haven't seen you in a while as well. We will
Yeah.
see you again, of course. But
Yep.
like always, brother, many blessings from Yahweh. Many
Yep.
blessings to family members, friends, and family, and all that good stuff. And I will be seeing y'all soon. PKD logging out.
Amen. Yes. Thanks for PK Darkness and the check-in. He's a good dude. Anybody can learn anything from him. Very humble, but at the same time, when you're in the presence of this man, I could actually say that he's family. On that note, the thing is, though, I'm going to be honest. I'm not, the reason why I made this post is because within the I've been hearing a lot of stuff, grumblings or whatever about MGTOW. I do not know anything about it. I don't want to speak ignorant about MGTOW issues. So I just made this post so I could actually identify with people who are or identify as MGTOW. So that's my main topic tonight. But in other topics, which is happening in the world, it looks like that in New York. Well, I guess this has been on since last week. They say there was a gang of kids that went and attacked a autistic boy. And one thing I could actually say, I don't really condone that. But then we don't know what's the genesis of the problem. And like how some newscasters they like to put young kids as gang members and everything. When the fact is that might not even be a case. So with that said, We have to watch out when the news give young men who are actually fighting or have a fist fight words, because sometimes it could just be a fist fight between two young boys or two young women. All right, I'm back. So, one of the things that I could actually say that news outlets like to do when it's cases pertaining young teenagers and young adults is that they could actually make a fist fight into a gang fight, when the fact is they're not detailing what organizations or what these young adults are into. So my thing is that you have to be very careful, because what could just be a normal interaction between teenagers could be blown way out of proportion by the media. So we have to be careful on which buzzwords that we actually use. And the thing is, though, I guess there's a lot going on in the world. Certain people talk about rumblings that China is going to start a war with Taiwan. I'm not sure. And I'm not actually well versed in that topic. I guess that will be a topic for another time. And I don't know what's actually going on with Russia and the Ukraine situation, because I'm not well versed in that either. But from the last point that I actually looked at, they were saying that the Ukrainians are actually winning. So, in that aspect, I do not know what's going on over there. But on a sad note, in the Dominican Republic, there was an old man that he was innocent, and they found him unalived in the Dominican Republic. I saw the pictures. It was heartbreaking. With that said, certain people who wish the Dominican Republic harm, I don't know for what and for what reason, but if you actually wish the Dominican Republic harm, I, Don Armando Robles, will not support you, because you're going against where my family came from. You're going against the ethos of that country. And people could talk about this, that, and the third, but yet they have no knowledge. So, for all the people that want to come to Dominican Republic, at least learn about the culture first. Don't try to assume stuff with a Western or European mindset. So, live the culture, explore, see how people live before you actually go and generalize and start bad mouthing nations, whether it be Dominican Republic, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, or any of the English speaking or French speaking countries in the Caribbean. So, with that said, you just have to go and learn. Be humble, because you have to, as an American in those lands, you have to remember a lot of things. You do not know the culture. Don't go and impose your culture in a land which is not yours. Third, if they speak a foreign language, at least try to learn, so therefore you could actually be around. And always mind and see how to be respectful within that country. So therefore you could actually garner a lot of friends and have a lot of good experiences. Now, shout out to Don Jose. Good evening. I'm going to put the link in the description. So just one moment. Good evening.
Good evening, Don Armando. Thank you very much for allowing me on your platform.
Thank you. I mean, my topic tonight was about the MGTOWs, so I tried to reach out to anybody within the MGTOW community. So I do not want to actually talk about a movement or a way of life that people actually adhere to. I do not want to actually talk about it ignorantly. So my thing is that I just want to learn more about it before I speak on the MGTOWs, and I want to know how this movement started and everything. I mean, the genesis of it. So that's why I try to reach out earlier to certain people who actually identify as MGTOW. But I guess since they're not on the panel yet, we could actually talk about anything else.
Okay. Well, being that is the case. Good evening, Keisha. One thing that's been on my mind has been the streams that Radical and Denise has been doing lately, and how they both receive a lot of you know junk thrown their way, and and they don't deserve it. It's just simply discussing topics and concerns and what have you. But some
Right,
people have a problem with accountability. And the fact of the matter is, when you're blaming everything on white supremacy or you blame everything on slavery, what that does is takes away individual responsibility and individual accountability. In fact, I'm planning to do a stream sometime in the near future, which I will call the Victimization Olympics, which
all
we
right,
will be, which we will be discussing that. Now, what I will do is I'm going to reach out to two individuals. Actually, I plan to reach out to both Denise and Radical and see if we can schedule something so the three of us can discuss this matter. Because the fact of the matter is, they've been the recipient of a lot of heat simply because they are asking questions regarding issues with the African American community. Now, when they are raising problems, issues regarding Latino community, no one had an issue. But as soon as the focus was switched to the African American community, all of a sudden they're racist. All of a sudden they're tethers. All of a sudden they have no right to be talking about whatever each thing, what have you, and on and on and on and on. And to be perfectly honest, I'm getting sick and tired hearing the same thing about what happened 300 years ago. Okay, fine. You may have been dealt with a bad hand. Okay, what are your solutions other than telling African American men to go outside the U.S. and find their wives?
I mean, if you actually look at it, Don Jose, right? What the movement of passport bros or whatsoever is not really is not really new. The reason why I say that is because if you actually look within the collective of African Americans or I guess what you call ADOS or FBA, the ones who are more educated, right? And I'm not saying not a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but you have some. I'm talking about whether it'll be if these men were military or they had like maybe some type of position in power within a big company or they even own their own company. You see, most people they actually went to Europe. I mean, during those times, I'm talking about maybe the 1920s till now, right? Before
Mm-hmm.
I guess we talk about that passport bros is a thing, right? So, with that said, you have a lot of people who actually come from mixed marriages, whether it be they'll be partly European, partly Hispanic, or they'll be partly Asian or Pacific Islander. So, with that said, it's just the passport bros. It's just a term now, just to coin men who are not of, I guess, who are not in the financial range or who either haven't experienced life outside the United States and they say that they want to get women. But if you actually look at the big crux of it, it's not nothing new. It's just something that's being promoted now. But then this is one thing that I have to say about the collective. We're talking about all this stuff about passport bros, right? But what
Mm-hmm.
about the passport sisters? I mean, there was a movie that actually talked about a passport sister. Um, how Stella got her groove back, right? So therefore, I'm not saying that for a lot of people that might be true, and that might not be true. But then, if everybody wants to show and shed light on what the passport bros or what people who call themselves passport bros are doing, you just need to shed a light on the passport sisters
Mm-hmm.
because you have certain people who want to shame men just because they do not want to date within their community or in their country. But yet, you see a lot of women doing the same thing. So if anybody wants to talk about accountability, you might have to have two people, I guess, who identify as passport bros or passport sisters, just sit on the table and see why they have to go outside the country to look for a wife or prospective spouse, or in other words, just to have a good time. So therefore, if you sit these people on the table, there might be some ignorant discourse or whatever, but then you could actually have a solution on why certain people feel like they need to go outside the country or they feel like they have to shame each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then when people do not have accountability, You actually see people who are actually slinging mud at each other, but yet you're not seeing why or how the accountability factor is setting in. It's just a blame game.
Hmm. Yeah. But let me make this perfectly clear. It's one thing if a person goes abroad to find a lifetime companion for marriage and truly loves the person and truly wants to learn as much about the culture as possible. It's one thing. It's another thing when you have these people who go to like the Caribbean simply to smash and leave a whole bunch of um, babies without a father. That's a different story. I'm just hearing about there's a huge problem with single mothers in the Philippines because you have men that go over there, they get with these women, they get them pregnant, and then they leave because they know that they cannot be hit with child support laws and what have you.
Wow, I did not know that. I mean, okay, I've heard stuff like concerning World War II of people who are who I guess they would be called American Asian just because of the wars and such. You know, the Vietnam War, World War II, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have certain people who were mixed with either black or white American. So with that said, yeah, I've seen people that have actually left Amer Amerasian babies in orphanages. Some of them they got treated bad just because of who they were are and whatsoever. A matter of fact, there's a member of the Black Eyed Peas who is actually Amerasian. So he was actually born in the Philippines, but yet I don't know like what his genetic makeup is as far as if he knows his parents or not. But it was but it was I guess in his biography or so that he was actually born in the Philippines. So I guess an American father or a Philippine mother. So I've seen that been how should I say the crux of everything. And even in Vietnam during when the Americans were over there, you've actually had Amer Asian children who were actually treated like the downtrodden under earth after the communists took over Vietnam. So if you actually look at the crux of Amerasian babies, they're actually looked down upon in certain Asian societies because of whatever the case may be. Maybe certain people they might have a cultural or a national pride about certain stuff. I don't know, but I have heard about single mothers in other parts of Asia, whether it be Thailand or Vietnam. But this is a new thing to me about the Philippines. So thanks for bringing that up, Don Jose.
You're quite welcome. And this is the problem. And then at the same time, they tend to trash American women, particularly African American women. Now, are there women that not fit to be wives? True, but not all of them are like that. And also, we got to ask the question: who raised these people to be this way? Okay. Now, now I participated in the live stream that Denise had, and she gave some statistical data regarding the growth of single mothers during the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. A good portion of that time, those people were raised by baby boomers, and unfortunately, there have been baby boomers who did not do a good job raising their children properly.
All right. So
And
my
that,
thing, so my thing is that okay, as far as the baby boomers, right? And I'm just saying because weren't baby boomers, I mean, considered, I'm saying it like in the 1960s or so, as far as flower children or something like that, if that matter.
yeah, they were,
Well,
and of course, a lot of them smoked pot and they were into free love and all that kind of stuff and things of that nature. Now, I was born towards the end of the baby boomer generation. So I grew up in the 70s, but unfortunately, you had baby boomers. There were hippies. You had baby boomers who did not do a good job. And the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, some of the baby boomers were very selfish and not even bother to to properly train the future generations because eventually you guys are going to have to take over and we're gonna have to like retire and be in the background.
yeah, but this is one thing that it's funny, right? When I was going to school, they used to say that we were the future, but now I don't know what's happening or anything like that. But I guess I'm starting to think that that I've failed the younger generation maybe with my wild actions or my generation's wild actions. So with that said, and now and now you have, I guess I'm being considered an older millennial. It's to the point that now we're seeing a lot of stuff that didn't occur in our generation. Maybe it might have, but then I'm just saying from a New York stand to a New York point of view is that I never really, when I was growing up, yeah, you seen certain people who might have used narcotics or pharmaceuticals, but and then the amount of people that were unalived were due to violence. Now, now I'm saying the younger generation who are coming up are either being unalived by violence and fentanyl. So with fentanyl, which is actually killing or unaliving a lot of young people in this day and age, whether it be in the East Coast, maybe the West Coast, maybe down south, I don't know. But it seems that since a lot of young people love taking the blue pill and they think that it's a party drug or aphrodisiac, but yet they do not know what is in the blue pills that they actually take. You're seeing a lot of young men who are being unalived by fentanyl and they don't even know it. So it's actually crazier now that you're seeing a lot of young men losing their lives because of this epidemic.
Yeah. In fact, this Sunday I'm going to be doing a call-in show regarding the things that the baby boomers did wrong, and I'm going to be asking Denise to join in and participate on the strain because um, we baby boomers, we have to start taking responsibility for the mistakes that we have made. We have to be humble enough and admit we were wrong, apologize, and then do what we can to be positive role models for the younger generations.
Right?
And for some of us, that could be a very bitter pill to swallow.
I mean, if you actually look at it, accountability is a bitter pill when certain people are do not know it. I'm not. or haven't taken accountability. I'll be honest. There's certain times that I didn't learn how to take accountability until I'll say later on in life. Because certain people, because if you don't take accountability for certain stuff, you'll keep repeating and repeating and repeating those actions, and you be asking, and you think that you're gonna actually get a different solution.
Hmm. Yeah, that is true. And okay, and I don't want to mention any names, but certain people, you know, got very emotional when Radical and Denise were actually asking honest questions and highlighting certain problems and trying to come up with solutions.
Right. You see, the thing is though, what I'm trying to see is this: you have certain people that are like, okay, well, we could come up with solutions, right? But then if you
Hmm.
actually look at it, certain people that about, okay, why the heck you're coming with the solutions when you're an outsider? So therefore, you have certain people that think like that. But then, but then, if you actually look at it, it's to the point now, and I could see why certain people could be emotional. Imagine, and I'm just saying, this is accountability and everything. Why is it that now what is considered cool, whether it be Hispanic or Latino, Asian, whatsoever the case may be, right? But when you have your own company or your own TV network, which is catered to your people, right? But then it's being
Hmm.
sold to another person. So as of right now, and I used to argue with my ex about this. I don't like watching BET. And she was like, "Oh, you're just saying that because you're Dominican." I told her I'm 500 more black. I'm 500 more. I'm 500 years more black than you are. So with that said, I just had to tell her that the BT that I knew when I was growing up, well the little stuff that I used to see. It's not the BT now. And then that's when they started coming with reality shows, which was actually counterproductive. And you have certain people who are actually uneducated. They think that that's life. Fighting, getting your own way, being selfish and conniving, or whatever the case may be. So you have certain people that actually think that's how you could get ahead in life instead of being educated. So
Yeah.
with that said, and then on top of it, when certain people, when it's supposed to be your culture, but yet you have all these big execs who are not of your culture dictating on how you have to dress yourself, on the latest styles, fashions, or whatever, what you would think is culture, a person will be emotional because you have certain outside forces that are not actually that are actually dictating your people into what you think or what you perceive as self-destruction. So I could see why I'm not going to go around and say I I sympathize or anything like that, but I'm just saying that at least I understand where certain people are coming from with that, or their outrage, or whatever the case may be.
Interesting. So, the fact of the matter is this: not everyone can accept the truth, particularly if it's truth that shows a deficiency or a weakness or a problem. Some of us just want to hear good stuff. So when Radical was and Denise were talking about how there was issues with the Latino community and how they were how they were acting, they had no issues. And in fact, Denise was much harder on the Latino community than in the African American community. All of a sudden, we do the same thing with the African American community, and they're called racist. They're called tethers. They call, you know, that they're not into black and brown unity. I mean, all that that's doing is raising concerns. And then you have one individual telling Denise that she has no right to talk about these things when she has a thing called freedom of speech as a U.S. citizen and is able to discuss whatever item that she feels inclined to speak about. I think Don Armando is muted because there's some music playing in the background and he doesn't want to get hit with a copyright strike.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I mean, if you actually look at it, right, you have certain people who they will not they will not own up to whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, it in this day and age, you could try to take accountability for whatsoever or whatever you did, and certain people will accept you. But then this is the downside of taking accountability. You'll have certain people that will try to twist your words, gaslight everything for what you took accountability for, and then make you look like the bad guy anyway, of just for something that you actually stood on your toes and admitted. So
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like now we live in like in a gaslight empire. I would like to say, because there's certain people who I actually call gaslighters. For example, if anybody, and I'm not going to mention names because they're useless. But if anybody hear what I say, right? I said I'm just using me as for example. If I said my background is Dominican West Indian, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I said Dominican West Indian, why is it a person is going to gaslight a person just because of their half heritage? Instead, they'll go and they'll try to make a West Indian, and they'll try to switch it around and try to call you an infiltrator within the culture. When the fact is, if you actually look at history, and I mean in Dominican society, you have seen people who are actually have this that their descendants or their heritage is West Indian and they were born in the Dominican Republic. They have actually became productive citizens. They work hard, and then on top of it, they actually love who they are. So now my thing is this: why is it with all this rhetoric, and I'm just saying from my own point of stand, is always a certain people that will always push a rhetoric. And these are the same people that will talk about their lands and how they're how they're so smart, and how they talk about Europe and everything. When 9 times out of 10, some of these people has never stepped foot in Europe, let alone they haven't even stepped foot in the town where my parents came from, San Pedro de Macorís, to actually opinionate about it. And with that said, you will have certain people that will try to push the narrative about my people, los cocongos ingles, that we that we're infiltrators and all this stuff. And to me, I never seen when I was growing up. I never seen this type of rhetoric. And when I said and I explained on who I was, I might have had some pushback just because I speak Spanish badly and I don't look like a typical Dominican. But as far as a person coming around and telling me of what I am not, it was just to the point that certain people they they either respected it or not. But now, I guess in this modern age, since you have certain people who are not educated or who haven't been around certain people, they'll try to talk uh, or gaslight a narrative that was not even there. And they still believe in their mind that they're so nationalist that they do not see what they're doing wrong.
Mhm.
So I guess that's the dilemma that certain people are dealing with on social media. And to me, what I think is that the end point of all this ignorance is because of certain people who are actually afraid or they have like a ethnic prejudice, whether it'll be a bad experience or whatsoever, and they want to push it up on other people. When the fact is, what they're going so hard for, they're gonna see the truth at the end. That certain people will think of you the same as the people that you do not like. So with that said, you could try and differentiate or say anything. We got businesses and everything, but yet you're not. But yet these are the same people who are not talking about the root problems, which is in the Dominican collective or the Hispanic American collective. So with that said, you have certain people that will try to push their unachievements or whatever's going down in their community under the rug. So therefore they'll try to say, "Oh yeah, we're more positive and everything." But yet they when it's something which is a problem or bad news or whatsoever, these are the first people that they do not have the organization or structure on how to solve those problems. But yet they will like to talk about a rhetoric that they believe is going to change society when the fact is they don't know how to construct a society in the first place.
Hmm. Interesting but sad.
Yeah, I mean,
Eh,
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
if you actually look at it, right, you have certain people who are sad, right? Whether whether it be, I'm not going to go and try to say myself, oh, I'm the most educated because I'm not, because I'm learning every day. But then if you have certain people they'll try to say that they're a history buff, but then when you actually call them out on and correct them on what they're doing, instead of them actually being humble and heeding the correction, they want to use personal attacks against you. Or in other words, you're mad because I actually proved myself on who you are or who I am for that matter. Now they want to come with my significant other and say that she is Egyptian. I mean, me personally, I never seen a bunch of ignorant nincompoops ever in my life. I actually said of who I am. Do I have to go around and show you my tax statements? Do I have to show you my my documentation that my parents have? Do I have to show you my social security number? Oh, better yet, do I have to go around and show you my whole family? And then maybe you could go around and see who I am. Better yet, you want to go and see who I am by following me every day. I don't think they want to do that work, because if they were so militant on how to try to tell you a person who they are, they'll actually do the research. But I don't see anybody doing the research. And that is my problem about it. Certain people, they could talk about a research that they have never done, or they speak a rhetoric which is from another person. But yet, when you actually talk and be solid about what you're saying, it's like it's like to the point, like certain times you sound like a fool. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a guy that actually comes on my own channel sometimes, and his name is Lucas, right? Shout outs to him, Lucas Acosta. So me and him, we met through TikTok. So he went up and showed a video of, somebody of the peanut gallery, right? And he was saying, and I went up and I watched the video. So this guy calls himself a conqueror. Remind you, he hasn't conquered anything, right? And he calls himself a conquistador or whatever fantasy that he lives within his mind. So, with that said, a guy, like how regular jargon that we use within urban communities, the N word with the A, right? The guy went and tried to say, "Oh, I am not an N, but your ancestors." But while we was actually being civilized and everything, your ancestors were wearing leaves around their private parts. Okay, first of all, a person who actually says that, right? I Either I would think they were watching a lot of Looney Tune cartoons from the 1940s and 50s,
Mhm.
or they were watching movies which were actually made just to for the American audience, so they could actually feel good about themselves. When the fact is, they actually depicted people not in the right way, but yet you have certain people that will actually have an image of certain ethnic groups within Africa or Asia, for that example, and they feel that, oh, all these people were wearing leaves around their private parts and they were uncivilized, which is not even the case. So with that mountain of ignorance and everything, I mean, the only thing that we have to do is try to fight against it, because it seems that certain people, with all the books and research that there is, you still have certain people that feel emotional and they do not care to do the research, or they could act like they're so charismatic that people will be like, okay, he's a good speaker, when the fact is he's just speaking gibberish. So it's like, even though that I've actually started in this space, when I started being on Radical's channel or my brother Fighter's channel, it was even to the point that I was on Fighter's channel the other day, and a certain person that does not like me, for whatever the case may be, went up and tried to instigate a problem between me and Fighter. When the fact is, that wasn't the case. You and I, we were talking about a topic. It was whatever, and when we mentioned Fighter's channel, right? So the person was trying to misconstrue what we were saying on your channel or mine. Well, I guess it was your channel, right? And then when I went up and I actually corrected that person on what I said, they went and they tried to use the Egyptian card, saying that my wife is an Egyptian. And remind you, this person is supposed to be in like in their 40s, but yet you still making lies. And let alone nobody has even seen this person's face. So what is there to gain just to gaslight on a person that actually busts you or debunks your lies every time with more lies? So that's certain stuff that I do not get in this social media sphere or YouTube sphere, whatever the case may be. Just 1 second, Jose. All right, I'm back. So that's one thing I'm just going to say about that incident. But there's another topic that I guess is going to be, well, it depends on how it's taken. What is your um personal beliefs or what you think about the latest news about Donald Trump being or going to be arrested? You think the charges are unfounded? You think he will beat this? What is your thoughts about this, Don Jose? Hmm. Hello? Are you there, Don Jose? Hello? All right. Hello?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, cuz I
I'm sorry.
it's all right.
Yeah. But it's just that when I take a look, when I was a younger person, you know, um, back in the 80s and early 90s, and I compare the conduct with some of these people today, it's quite shocking when you think about it.
Yes it is.
I mean, and the fact of the matter is, you have a lot of ignorant people out there, and it's nothing worse than a person who's ignorant, who does not recognize his flaws.
Ain't that the truth?
Hmm. Yep. And but look, you cannot do anything about other people that they don't want if they don't want to address whatever problems that they have. Okay. Me at this point, um, I'm at the stage when I have to worry about my mental and physical well-being. I mean, I can't be worrying about other people, how they receive me or perceive me or what have you.
Right.
So,
All right. All right. Another thing I gotta ask, because this is not really pertaining to me or anything like that, but it looks. I was actually talking to somebody who was actually a YouTube content creator, right?
hmm
And now I guess a famous YouTube content creator were making a lot of allegations about this one person. So if this one person does make money off of being a YouTube content creator, and the person actually slanders what they are and actually have said false things about a up and coming YouTube creator, what would or have made this guy lose a lot of business? Do you think that YouTube content creator has a case for defamation?
uh, that's going to be hard to prove because you
I
could
mean,
basically you have to prove that you were harmed economically
right,
because of a set charges.
right.
So it's very hard to win a definition case unless you have clear cut evidence that the person defamed you.
All right. So if a person went and actually defamed a person with false allegations, right? I'm just saying, like, in the crux of, like, say if a person is saying that person has charges or whatsoever the case may be, which is not proven to be true, and it's all up on social media. Would
Hmm.
that person could he have a case, or could that person have a case for defamation?
It's quite possible, but
All right,
I really not an attorney, and I don't have an extensive knowledge, so I don't want to say yes or no.
all right,
Um,
yeah. Because the thing is, though, I'm just asking because as far as other YouTube content creators and whatsoever, and you'll have certain people that will try that. So therefore, I just want to. I guess maybe whenever I come back from the Dominican Republic, I'll actually would like to explore the defamation laws, or actually will try to get a lawyer or somebody who's actually familiar with the law on my panel. So therefore, we could actually go over the rights that us YouTube content creators have. So therefore, we could actually protect ourselves in the long run if we want to actually make this a full-time business or what have you.
mhm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that some people have taken issues with you because you allow a certain individual on your platform.
Yes. When
I
the
mean,
when the fact is
go ahead.
when the fact is it's funny how they take a certain issue with me just because I let a certain individual on my platform, right? The only reason that I'm just saying this because of what I've seen with interactions. When a person, when you're so against a person, right, or you practice demagoguery against a person, when another person is actually, I guess, they feel comfortable to come in my platform, right, and I'm not disrespecting, or that person's not disrespecting me, and I might let him talk or whatever, or me and him we have a good discord. Certain people who they have a who they have a negative discord with that person, they're like, okay, why the heck I have a negative discord with this person, but yet this person on this platform is all cool and everything. So therefore, when certain people see that that person is in his own light and he feels comfortable coming in my platform where there's no active disrespect, 9 times out of 10, I believe it's jealousy. And then sometimes it's acts of demagoguery, meaning that I'm going to try to prevent you from being happy. I'm going to dox you or whatsoever the case may be, just because I don't agree on the person you have. The last time I checked, this was my platform, right? And if you
Yes.
don't like it, you can leave. You could block me. You could do whatever you may please. But at the end of the day, you're not going to go around and tell me on how to run my platform. That is like me telling you to run your own household. Me telling you to go pay these bills. Me telling you to go to wear what type of clothes in your own house. And that, I believe that's very disrespectful. And since certain people can't control you, they will try to go and try to make a false issue with you. So when I actually seen this a mile away, I just blocked the individuals. They could still talk about me. They could still make whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not doing nothing. They're not affecting anything. They're just spreading my name just because they don't like me. When the fact is, they might be countries or states away. What you actually doing? Nothing. You could go and try to find the worst thing about me and use my past against me. But guess what? If I blocked you, you already lost the war. So therefore, while people want to do that and everything, have the same energy for that popular YouTuber. That's all I'm saying. Because most of the people who are actually practicing demagoguery, they're not famous. And some of them don't even have over 1K subs doing this. So what is the end goal? The end goal is nothing. And I'm seeing this all the time. It's nothing. They're not getting anything about it. They could actually treat the people, the little people that they do have following about whatsoever. And most of the times, they're just doing this because they have no financial recourse to what they're actually doing, which is to make money. So with that said, I'm not even worried about these individuals because they're not in the big leagues. And 9 times out of 10, I might be in the big leagues, or you might be in the big leagues one day, Don Jose, and they might still be in the minor leagues. So they could take issue with what they want. But at the same time, I don't see nobody calling me. They could make a whole bunch of videos about me. They could mention my name. But guess what? They're not even in the big leagues. So their opinions is worthless in my opinion. Mm. But aside from those YouTube creators, what is your thoughts on the recent news about Donald Trump? Do you think he will get arrested, or do you think this going to be some legal loophole that he could use again that could help him?
I think some people has obsession regarding Trump wanted to see him arrested. Now, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to serve his time in prison. However, whatever time he does,
I mean, let's just say that he is the first person to ever be tried and convicted. This will be monumental, don't you think, Don Jose? And I guess that will show that even rich people are not even above the law.
yeah, sad but true. Sad but true. But that's what happens when people who are supposed to be responsible parents don't like responsibility. And then what happens is this, the next generation makes the same mistakes, and the next generation, and then the cycle continues. And I guess Don Armando step away, or he muted himself because there's music being played on the background.
Yeah, I'm like me personally. As soon as I get back from the Dominican Republic, I might try to buy me some new paneling to, or something has to change. So therefore, actually, I could block some noise, and I could actually have a good a good noise free stream for a bit, or at least have my own intro music,
Yeah,
whatever the case may be.
yeah. Just be mindful what music that you play, because you can get hit with a copyright strike.
Yes, that's why. Yes, and the music that I'm going to play is going to be independently produced by producers that I know. So therefore, by the time that I actually play that music, it will not have a copyright strike. Hopefully, me and that producer will have the rights to the beats, and then we will not have to have that copyright strike or whatsoever the case may be, because we're the ones that actually own the track and actually have rights to use that track for our intro. I think that's the only way that we have to do stuff, or get unlicensed beats. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So overtime king. Nah, you know what? You ain't a king. You're more like the overtime emperor.
Yeah. Well,
How are things in your sector?
um, everything. Everything's okay. We're just dealing with these refugee seekers or whatever. A lot of them have been developed a sense of entitlement, and
Right,
it could be frustrating if you don't know how to handle it.
right.
So, mhm. So, but you do what you can, and you just have to be mindful of your words. Because I actually heard
Yeah,
about one employee told one of these people that if they didn't like things, they should go back to their country, and that person was never allowed to go back to participate in the overtime project again.
yes. I remember you did tell me that.
Yeah, I think what happened was this city employee got frustrated about something, didn't know how to react, and he reacted with emotion instead of trying to keep calm and you know and explain to the person what they can do or what they should not do and what have you. Unfortunately, this person got very emotional, and it cost an opportunity there.
Right,
So, I mean, look, we can all have a bad day now and then. I mean, that's possible. Okay. The difference is um, how to deal with it and how to handle things when you're having a bad day or you're going through a rough situation. So,
right.
but that's where the maturity comes in. I mean, the mature person will be very careful about their actions and their words. The immature person will act purely in emotion, and we've seen that already in these YouTube streets and outside.
Yes.
So, so in any case, um, I'm gonna hop off because tonight's another night. I'm gonna be doing overtime. So of course, as always, it's a pleasure to be on your platform. And as always, people, I'm gonna ask that if you have not done so, uh, please check out Don Armando's channel and subscribe to his channel. And just to let everybody know that tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the incels and the femcells and how they act and what have you. So that being said, um, shout out to to those in the chat, to those who are viewing, even those who are viewing in the clouds. So I'm going to say good night, Don Armando. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you, Don Jose.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I'm going to be signing off tonight. I'm just going to head out. I got work and I'm preparing for an upcoming trip. I do not know about the connection issues when I am overseas, but I'll try to actually make another video or videos, depending on how I edit certain stuff. So please stay tuned to future videos I might be making or interviews. With that, stay tuned. Have a good night and stay safe.